Okay, so welcome everyone to my podcast, Master Your Emotion and Find Your Truth. Like always, welcoming everyone very warmly. And today, my podcast is number 23. Actually, I wrote number 24, but my pen just gave me the 20. I wrote 24 in the morning, but now when I just started writing down on my paper, I was like 23. And I was searching and I was tapping into my intuition. What does that really mean? So like my name is Gabriela, so I'm just only allow myself to go deep inside me and just only feel that Gabriel energy. So if anyone don't know, the Gabriel is not like a man. They're always in the spiritual world, in the heaven, they're showing the Gabriel as a woman, as a feminine energy. By the way, 23 is saying to you who are listening us, follow your heart and find your inner truth. And yeah, everything will be unraveling for you in the right time, right place, with the right people. So another way, what you can do what you love, and the rest will come.
Yeah.
That's definitely. Okay, but if you would like to go much more deeper in the numerology and the meaning of the angel's number, you can go straight away and seeking that knowledge information. There's plenty online and plenty, lots of beautiful spiritual teachers around it. But by the way, let's go dive into my podcast. I couldn't stress enough. I'm so happy. I'm so grateful today for my guest today. So today, like you can recognize, is Catherine Edwards. She's a beautiful, beautiful soul and beautiful light being. Can I call you like that? Light being?
Love it. Yes, please.
Okay. And then what I would like to say, what she's doing, probably she's going to unravel something tiny, tiny for you, how she's serving the rest of the humanity and the rest collective consciousness. But I would like to just only say very briefly, she's a biologist, she's an interviewer, and she's helping raising the consciousness on the planet Earth. Welcome, Kathleen.
It's such a pleasure to be with you, Gabriela. I've seen quite a bit of your work, and I think it's so wonderful that so many people stepping up and sharing their information, their energy, and helping people along this bumpy journey of life. So thank you very much. I'm absolutely delighted to be here.
That's amazing. I couldn't stress enough. Actually, my energy is over the moon, wherever the people choose, and you would like to say over the heaven. Anyway, they can choose it what they want. Would you mind just only share a little bit information about yourself for the people who never see you, or but today is a time, and they would like to just only sense a little bit about you, know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in a nutshell, what I do really, Gabriela, is I help animals and their humans in that order to live the happiest, healthiest, most fulfilling life possible using natural solutions and really looking at everything holistically of mind, body, spirit. And I'm a biologist. I'm a holistic health practitioner. I do loads and loads of weird and wonderful, lovely therapies. But most importantly, over the last few years, I've also had my own YouTube channel and podcast, because what I'm realizing, Gabriela, is if we don't know, humans make all the decisions for the animals in their lives, and actually all the main decisions for our own lives. Sometimes we don't realize that. And if we don't understand what challenges we're being faced with, if we're sort of believe the lies that we're told, I'll be very careful what I say on this channel, then it's really hard, because if you don't understand the problems that you're facing, you can't look for the natural solutions. So what I try and do is look at everything. I know holistically is a bit of an overused word, but it's so important, looking at balancing the mind, body, spirit, making sure that as humans, we have the best information at our disposal about how to use all these natural, wonderful healing remedies that our bodies have, that nature's giving us, that light's giving us. Yeah. And very importantly, looking at how we can then make the best choices for the animals, not only those animals in our care, like our dogs. I've got my dogs on the couch behind me, the dogs, the cats, the horses, the rabbits, the guinea pigs, but also looking at the bigger environment and our relationship with nature and all things with us. Because for me, I really think when we look at the community within our bodies and how we're interacting with nature as a whole, when we get that balance right, a lot of the other problems disappear for us.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned that you've got a dog behind you. I've got a cat close to me. She always, when I'm just only recording any kind of the podcast with any different people, any different sorts, she's always with me. She's always. Sometimes she's just only walking in front
Yeah,
of me.
same here. I've got
Yeah.
5 cats, Gabriella, and they'll normally come in and halfway through start knocking everything off my desk. But no one minds when a cat does that. Cats can go away with anything they like.
Yeah, I know, but we can get close to why are they doing that for the purpose, definitely. But in the few seconds we can go dive in deeply. What we can learn from the animals, because I'm just only sensing you're doing it yesterday. You just only posted something about the horse. You put it the beautiful stem cells. Can you tell a little bit more and what we can learn from the animals as well?
Oh, I'd love to. It's my favorite subject. So the thing I love about animals is there's no ego involved in an animal. You get a very honest, instantaneous result back. Now, animals are communicating with us the whole time, and most little children are completely natural at communicating with animals. But often, a lot of us, not all of us, but as we grow up, we get told that's ridiculous, don't put human emotions on animals, etc. And when we really, a lot of people who've been looking at their own spiritual development, questioning what's going on in the world, we talk a lot about intuition, about tuning in with our intuition. Well, animals haven't lost theirs. So we're those of us that are lucky enough to spend our lives with animals. If we really sit quietly and sort of watch how they're conducting, how they're making decisions in their life, how they're dealing with stress, what choices they are and aren't allowed to make, we can really learn so much for them, because as humans, most of us have moved far too much into our headspace and out of our heart space. And what animals are very good is putting that into balance. Although I would say, as the humans in their life, the humans are quite good at pushing the animals out of balance. So what I did with my horse Romeo, I've got 2 ponies at the moment, and I work with loads of natural remedies. So I love, probably like you, Gabriella, I love looking and understanding the scientific side of things, of how things work, but then love looking at the more quantum physics, sacred geometry, energetic, spiritual side of things as well. And animals give us such good feedback. So the LifeWave patches are one of the brilliant products that I work with at the moment, because everything I work with is about using our own healing powers. Yes, supplements absolutely often needed, have their place, but equally getting our bodies to start being able to heal themselves and those of their animals. So when I've got new products that I'm trying out, trying them on my animals, always with their permission. And I'll tell you what, Romeo absolutely adored the LifeWave patches. They give me a different level of feedback than I can get from humans, because with humans we have the placebo effect and the nocebo effect, and those are brilliant, because we all know we can heal ourselves by mind alone, but it can be tricky at times. So when I'm using things like the LifeWave patch on Romeo or my dogs or my cats, he gives me such instant feedback, because he's not engaging his brain. His body's either responding or is not. His energy's either responding or not.
That's true. Yeah, that's his or her. His or her heart is talking to you through they just only vessels. So that definitely. But you just only remind me something. How they are so brave and how they are just only utilize their unwanted energy from their body, from their system, or maybe just when they're showing they really true their emotions. So like, for example, this morning my cat went out to the garden and met another cat. My goodness, I was just only staring like that. I was drinking my coffee and said, that's so amazing how they're interacting. They were staring their eyes and were sensing that. I said, oh my goodness, this is the life. That's the beautiful life of it. But we just only, we lost that sense about it. I would like to say the intuition. I was so suppressed. How you can asking the permission to?
Oh, that's such a good question. So, and tell me if my answers are a bit too long-winded, because I could talk about this forever. So
I can stop you.
Yeah, you just stop me. So with your intuition, as humans, often we're not really having a proper conversation. So often people are having a conversation to just desperately get their point of view across, not really tuning in and listening and with an open mind to accept what the other person or being is saying. And all of us have experienced a lot over the last few years of having people in control make decisions for us that we might or might not agree with. And that can be really stressful on us when we feel we haven't got the control. Now, animals, they never, even a bred animal that's something bred in captivity, they haven't lost their intuition, but often they're suppressed, because if you're put in a situation where, say, for example, you've got an owner that only one answer is acceptable, then that's not a conversation. So tuning into the intuition, I think, is really about just observing first and foremost. So as humans, if we want to really start tapping into our intuition, we stop talking and just listen, but listen with all the other senses, not just our ears. Now, it's interesting, Gabriela, I wear hearing aids and my hearing's really bad. And actually, it's a real advantage to me because I can't rely just on that sense to take in the information. So I'm using my smell. I'm feeling what my heart's doing. We all know that feeling if we're excited or nervous, where your heart goes or your stomach goes.
Oh, yeah.
When you stop talking and you listen with all your other senses, not just your ears, what you'll find is these thoughts or messages come through to you, and quite often as humans we then start to try and interpret them. But if we can just sort of stop that process there and just sort of leave it with, that's interesting, I wonder what my body's trying to tell me, I wonder what this smell is, I wonder what I'm observing here, and just start asking more questions rather than jumping to answers, you'd be amazed at how quickly that intuition opens up to you. And then, of course, there's things like meditation that can really, really help. Is what we're really trying to do with our intuition and breathing exercises is move out of just our head space into more of our heart space and take in information from there without making an instant judgment about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a beautiful said. Because also, just when you look it up, and then the other part of our podcast that will be talking about how we can balance the health, the physical, mental. That just only unravel straight away. And always during my podcast, I'm just only connecting with the telepathy. I'm using telepathic thoughts. I'm just only sending straight away. So my words went straight away to your subconscious mind, and you just only said it. So I don't have a question about it. So yeah, you will unravel everything, almost everything, because it's impossible to say everything in the 30 minutes or 40 minutes, but definitely. But if you didn't answer this question, how you can ask the permission when you
asking the question. So, okay, so it's a really, really good question. So say, for example, we as humans are very used to doing things to our animals.
Yeah.
So what I'd like people to just practice is just thinking, how would you as a person like to be asked something? So for example, if we go into a restaurant, we expect as humans for, you know, the waiter or waitress to come up to us and say, what would you like?
Yeah.
And we expect them to listen to our answer. So how practicing, so even if it's like taking your dog out for a walk, if your dog's in a deep sleep and you've decided this is the time they've got to go for a walk, approach your dog and say, would you like, and initially, Gabriela, I start by saying it out loud. Now, you don't have to say it out loud because the dogs aren't listening to the words you're saying. They're feeling your intent,
vibration,
feeling your vibration. So if there's someone there, you don't have to say it out loud, but you can say to your dog, would you like to go out for a walk now? Not in an all excited, over emotional way, just in a calm way. Would you like to go out for a walk now? And while you're asking that question, you can be picturing you and your dog out on a walk and see how they respond. And then be open to the answer being yes or no. So for example, if you're feeding your cat, you know, would you like your food to be in this bowl or that bowl? Would you like it up high or down low? Yeah. Would you like it? Starting everyday little tasks before you do something, ask them, and then just stop and listen and see if a feeling comes back to you. Because these little things where we start, the simple things, are a really good way of us tuning in. Because so many times we do things like we decide it's time for our cat to be groomed. So we grab it and, you know, yes, you might have to groom your cat or dog. But how would you like it if you were in a deep sleep and someone started grabbing you and manhandling you? And then we might get cross if they get a bit grumpy, or if you get a mat and there's a sore bit. But they have to be allowed to tell us what's wrong. This relationship with our animals should be very two-way. And if, for example, you're doing something and they behave in a way that you deem as not acceptable, ask yourself, well, why are they doing that? So always asking them, I would say speaking to your animals exactly how you would like to be spoken to, rather than have someone enforce something. And when it's a bit of trial and error, when you first start doing it, it might seem a bit awkward, because so many, we decide what medications they're going to have, we decide what exercise, we decide what company, we decide what food, we decide when we change their water bowl. But when we start giving them some say over things and asking them permission, you know, if you're asking your cat, where would you like to be fed? Would you like it down low or up high? When you ask that question, just watch where they look or where your intuition goes, and then try it and see their results. And it's so fun, because once you start using this, it gets easier and easier and easier. And then when you have something that's more serious in your life, you know, that might be a health concern with your animal, or if you're going to leave them in the care of someone, or if you're thinking of introducing a new animal, then you'll find those conversations are already there and you'll be able to read the responses a lot easier.
Yeah, that's completely true, because when I'm feeding my cat, and sometimes I'm just only showing the bowl with this food and another food. So she's coming and she's choosing, and then I'm taking away that one if she doesn't want. Yeah, that's definitely. And last time she was bitten by another cat in the garden. And when she came back, I would like to say we need to learn emotions from them, and how we're supposed to accept ourselves. Like you mentioned, because when the cat and the dog saying, no, I don't want to go out today, or I don't want to go now, we just only we as a human getting frustrated, we're getting angry. Why? And we're just only pulling or something, doing like that. Sometimes I'm not saying that all of us doing that stuff, but like also you mentioned beautifully, you said, actually I couldn't remember exactly, but that was like something, when you're treating your dog, you treat your dog or just treat your cat how you would like to be treated by the human, or maybe talk to your dog. Oh yeah, you said that, talk to your dog or the cat how you would like to be talk. Yeah, that's true.
So a classic example is, you know, let's take something like chemical wormers. So a chemical wormer, animals, I work with a therapy called zoopharmacognosy, which is animals self-medicate.
Perfect, yeah. Amazing. Sorry.
I absolutely love it. And because that is a way of using all nature's lovely natural remedies, herbs, essential oils, clays, etc. But instead of us as the human deciding which one they want, how they want it, the animal has the choice. And it's quite a complicated process to learn. But once you've got it, it makes such perfect sense, because it's using the animal's ability and it's giving them a say in their treatment, in their remedies.
Yeah.
And what I find is that often what we do, yes, as a parent, whether you're a parent to human children or furry children, you know, as a parent, sometimes you do have to make difficult decisions for the ones in your care. However, those decisions need to be well thought through and well researched. So, for example, if we can probably all think of a time where some human has made a decision for us, whether it's a parent, a government, a doctor, or whatever, that we don't agree with, and how awful that feels if you haven't got a choice in the matter. That when you think about it, we're doing that to our animals every day of their life, even as simple as, you know, what bowl do they want their water in? Have you refreshed their water? Have you washed the bowl before you refill the water? These things sound silly and simple, but they're not. Imagine if you're a child and your mother's constantly giving you water out of a dirty water. How would you feel? How would you trust, you know, because we can say love. So for me, love is about doing the best we can and about a true two-way relationship. And if it's a true two-way relationship, are there situations where as the parent you have to step in? So if my dogs come running towards a road and it could get run over, I will call them back, you know, aggressively, you know, make sure they come back, because also it's my job to keep them safe, because they don't understand all the dangers that us humans have put in their environment. However, at other times, you know, if it's like, can someone pet your dog? Can someone stroke them? They have to be allowed to say no. And what you find is the more you listen to them, the more the unwanted behaviors peer because they know they'll be listened to when they give an answer. So just like at school, you know, often the most disruptive children are the ones that are crying out for help because they're not listened to. So their behavior has to get more and more disruptive to get any attention. That's the same with our animals. So if you've got an animal that is showing a behavior that you as a human don't decide is acceptable, first and foremost, is it a natural behavior for that animal? So, for example, people say, well, how do I stop my cat scratching the furniture? Well, you can't. Cats need to curl their claws. So have they got a nice outdoor environment? Have they got more alternative things they can do it for? You can't just tell your cat to stop scratching because they have to keep their claws healthy for survival. However, if it's something like an aggressive dog, it's making sure you see why they're aggressive, because aggression can come from loads of different reasons: pain, stress, past trauma, not being listened to. So it's starting that relationship makes us also, Gabriela, has such an impact on the way we impact with other humans in our lives as well. Because when you treat every individual with the respect of being allowed to give their own opinion, then suddenly you get a very different relationship unfolding.
Yeah, and also there'll be a different relationship with your own self. So we need to start and begin, first of all, on ourselves first, then we can just only see the difference outside. You mentioned that beautifully. And also, I would like to bring, like you just only said, around the kids, but that was big condition. Always there will be somebody above. Never ever we've been told like, oh, teach, or just only giving that wisdom. We are just only equal on the soul level. I would like to say, not really constant at the soul level, because we've got the soul levels as well. But definitely, I would like to say, as a human consciousness, we need to treat each other equally. Like, I'm not high above you. Maybe I've got much more knowledge and information, but I'm not treating you are lower than me, or I'm just only there treating you like respectfully. But at the school, they've been so suppressed, and they never asking, how do you feel? Oh, you feeling okay? Actually, I got the experience. I was helping, because I stopped now, with the autistic children. They are lovely. They are amazing. I couldn't stress enough that energy, that electric shock between me and them. That was amazing, beautiful dynamic. But when I saw how they've been treated by the teachers, of course, I'm not blaming the teachers as well, because they've been conditioned, and that's a long story. But I said, no, it's not for me. I can't be in that place if I've got the tight hands. If I'm just only would like to do something, they just only, refusing my help. That's another story. So I would like to just say that energy, when you're saying no, when you're not asking for the permission, that's showing like the anger, like you just only said, that vibration, low stuff in our body, in our behavior.
I love that. Sorry, I was just going to say, that's really lovely that you brought up your work that you were doing with the children as well. And I think it's really interesting. I think personally, we have to come back to valuing how important it is to raise children. I think and I will put my hand up. I fell for all the programming. I've got 2 children that are grown-ups now. And I was a working mum, and now I look back and I just think, oh my goodness, I completely fell for that one, hook, line and sinker, because that was what was expected of me, and I went along with the crowd. And yes, I had amazing careers, but I didn't then get to spend as much time raising my own children, because when I was at school, I'm a lot older than you, Gabriela. When I was at school, it was
who knows? Nowadays, you never know. Maybe I'm 70, I'm 80. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. Could be anything. But when I was at school, the parents had a very different attitude in general. They did not expect school to be the place that disciplined their children. I'm getting some weird feedback. Can you hear that?
Yeah. That's the kind of the bubble. I can hear it though. Yeah. Somebody's talking to you.
It's weird. That's really weird feedback. I don't know where that's coming from. Just checking it's nothing my end. But so what's happening is, when in the good old days, as you said, there's lots of things that weren't good in the old days, but it was a very different attitude to parenting. So if my parents went to parents' evening and the teachers sort of gave some feedback about us, it wasn't sugar-coated. It was, they're good at this, they're not good at this, they don't concentrate here. And the parents never blamed the teachers.
No, no.
It
Yeah,
was
I
a
know.
very
I
different
experienced
one.
that type as well.
Now it's like we expect everyone else to raise our children for us. And I think that does also show up in terms of relationships of what we do with the animals. So I've just got back from a dog walk now, and it's really shocking actually to see, like, no one seems to understand common sense with how to interact with their dogs. And I will use training not as a dominance-based thing, but you know, you need to teach your dogs good manners. They need to understand how to socialize with others. They need to understand how to stay safe, how to follow basic commands for their safety and other people's safety. And this common sense of personal responsibility seems to have gone out. And last week, I don't know if you saw it on my channel, I interviewed the most amazing animal empath called Emily. And she explained it better than I've heard anyone explain it before. In the animal kingdom, if you're a herd, every member of the herd is valued equally. So this human concept that we learned about hierarchy is completely wrong. They will have different leaders at different times. So there might be one member of the horse herd that looks out for predators and has got the best instincts for that. There might be another that knows where to go and find the best grazing. There might be another that takes over disciplining the youngsters. And those roles will change. So there's never just one leader. It's what's the leader for that task in hand. And that there's a beautiful book called Mutant Messages Down Under, which is about lessons from Aboriginal tribes. And it's a very similar principle in that as well. And I think when as humans, if it's society, when we go back to valuing every single person watching this has got their own unique skills and their own unique passions, and they're all just as important as everyone else. So to live in any good community, we need all of us. We need someone that loves cooking. We need someone that loves gardening. We need someone that loves looking after the children. We need someone that lives that can build. We need someone that can do plumbing. You know, there's all these different roles and none of them are more important. They're all valuable. And if we could look at life like that, I think we'd all be a lot happier.
Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, I wish. Oh, actually, when we recognize in ourselves, like, oh, I have to do the work on myself, just go dive deep in. I was recording the daily intuitive message on the Instagram today, and I told everyone that go inside and just unravel everything. Just only listen to your emotion. If you're just frustrated, if you're blaming somebody, that's everything is inside you. No, it depends on them. They just trigger. Of course, they trigger because they have reflection about your in a state. But everything is inside you. You have to do the work. No one is coming and save you. No one is coming to save you. I just learned lots of stuff. But by the way, coming back to the children, people just surprised when they asking me for the permission to do something. For example, I went last few days. My daughter is like a teenager at the moment. So we went to the hairdresser, and always when I'm going to the hairdresser, even if they were 5, 6, 7 years old, I just only went with them, and the hairdresser asked me, oh, how would you like to cut their hair? I said, please go and ask her and her. Yeah. Okay, that's 2 girls. But she was like, why? That's your choice. I said, no, it's not my choice. That's not my head. They are completely individual. They are completely different soul. So I'm not taking the responsibility how they would like to be cut. They have be cut. And the same now that we went and the hairdresser talking to me. I said, no, please don't talk to me. I just only came here supporting and just only paying for that. Yeah. And that's it. I'm just only sitting and relaxing. That's completely. The people just only shocked now at the moment, but which is great because
I love it though, because you all have made them think. And I think that's such an important point you've just raised there, because for example, I've got, a farrier that comes and does my pony's feet. And he's so used to people not asking for advice. You know, do you think that my horse needs any changes to their balance? Most people, and I know we're generalizing here, so please don't get offended if you're not people. But a lot of people just want their horses to be able to be ridden. So they'll want the farrier to do whatever they can to keep their horse in work. And when the farrier has someone that sort of says, look, I don't mind whether my horse can be in work or not, I just want you to do what's best for them, they're like completely blown away. Yeah. Because they're like, they've never been they haven't been given permission to do that. So I think all of these little changes, if I've just got someone coming into the garden, she's bringing her granddaughter to ride the pony. So if my dogs start barking, I'll just turn my mic off a bit. But I love it. And by us doing these things, by you saying that to the hairdresser and politely explaining that, she'll think next time, and next time she might ask the parent, is it okay if I ask the children how they want? So by these making our choices, our little changes ourselves, we're then encouraging other people to make changes themselves as well. And that's how people start to look at the world in a different way.
That's definitely like that. Do you believe, or maybe you've got a different perspective around, is the animals got a past lives, or maybe they've been in the part our family before when we came here, that reincarnation, anything, or do you like to share that around it?
I 100% believe it. And I know everyone's views are different on this, but I've had so many occasions where you know, animals have shown me, because one of the things I do is, as we as humans label it, as animal communication, and the things that these animals tell me, honestly, I've never stopped. My husband laughs because he's like, every time you say, you're not going to believe it, and he said it's just amazing. So I completely believe that animals and humans can reincarnate into different bodies. Like, I'm sure I've been many animals before, which is why I find it so easy to see the world through their eyes. And I think what I'm learning, and I'm getting better at this with experience, is realizing just because I see something and something's really obvious to me, it's not obvious to someone else. And what I've realized over the last few years is, and I'm getting slowly better at it, I'm not going to pretend I'm perfect at it, because we all see things that are obvious to us, and it can be very easy to step into judgment mode and thinking, why didn't someone notice that? Why didn't someone see it? But we're all on our own journeys, and we're not meant to see everything at once. It's like you're not meant to pick up a book and know the last chapter straight away. It's meant to be a journey through that book. And it's our lives. And so when you sort of realize, actually, that's fantastic, that's my purpose in life, because the things that I find easy and others don't, that is the clue for what you should be doing in your life. Because a lot of people think, you know, I've got a friend who, she's a really high up businesswoman, but her main passion is she wants to drive elderly people around on a bus, sightseeing, because she's so good at interacting with elderly people. If you've got something, if you're watching this, whether it's sewing, whether it's cooking, whether it's gardening, whether it's mending cars, whether it's tree surgery, whether it's whatever, whether it's financial advice, whatever you find easy and other people don't, that's a real clue to perhaps what gifts you should be sharing with the world.
Yeah, that's your desire. That's definitely. So, for example, like I just mentioned, something you just think that's really common. That everyone's supposed to see that. I've got lots of interaction with the another light of the beings, and I said, "Did you saw that? Did you saw that?" And my husband saying, "No, I didn't see that." I said, "Okay, maybe not." I said, "That's so common. I can see this everywhere." For example, now when I'm just only talking to you, Catherine, I'm just only seeing a lot of lights in front of me, and yeah, just only I'm seeing when I'm just only asking the audience, did you see that? And they said, no, where was it? I said, okay, in front of me, straight away. So I was thinking that's really common. But anyway, what you just said about the reincarnation, I just strongly believe my cat is my grandmother.
Yeah.
I just only felt it. I couldn't remember actually when was it, but there was like the connection with my eyes and her eyes. It was like a really deep, like my grandmother talking to me, that I sensed her energy. I just only start crying, and my cat was just start crying too. I said, then I asked, are you Granny? And she didn't reply, like, oh, yes, I am Granny. I wish one day maybe that would be development in her voice. But yeah, definitely she just only start crying much more. Yeah, so that's
I 100% believe that. And the thing is, it's like, it's such a beautiful sort of connection, and if it helps both parties, go for it. Because so often as adults, we're used to be sort of then thinking, oh no, that can't be possible, or I can't prove it. It doesn't matter if you can't prove something. This is one of the biggest things, I think, is we don't need to prove something. Anyone who's on any sort of spiritual journey knows that if you wait till you've got the evidence in front of you, you're not going to manifest anything. You know, it's believe it and then it will come.
Yes.
And this is what I love about all this stuff, is us getting back into playing, having fun, exploring, answer these questions, just like we did with the children. Now, of course, as we get into adulthood, there's some traits we do want to develop, that we do know how to look after ourselves and look after others. So I'm not saying stay in all the childlike states, but there's some brilliant childlike states that are really useful for us to bring forward. So think about everyone watching, think about some of the friends that you really, really enjoy spending time with. Are they the really serious ones, or are they the more playful, you know, joyful ones? And I bet you've got some playful, joyful friends that, you know, society might judge as being not very responsible or a bit frivolous. You know, are they having a great life? Are they living in the moment? Are they enjoying it? We can all learn a lot of these traits for each other's, and it doesn't come naturally. Just go out and do something each day. I think you mentioned at the start, Gabriela, about doing more of what you love. It's important, because when you're doing more of what you love, you're a much nicer person to be around for every living being, and also you'll just make better decisions about your life and other people, because you won't have that such a high level of stress that's blocking that decision-making process.
Yes, definitely. And what I would suggest, I never give a suggestion to the people, but maybe I'm inviting everyone who are listening, guys, just when you go and give that opportunity for yourself, just when you try so many stuff, and just when you feel that experience, because through the experience, you're learning which one is what is good for you, what is not good for you. That's definitely like that. But you beautifully also said about the intuition. You need to feel it. You need to feel it. You need to have got that vision in front of you, and then everything will be manifest straight away. We are talking a lot of today about the kids, about the children. I think the children is a foundation, and the inner child, today I'm running the workshop as well, online, but definitely the inner child, we need to take it out, that inner child outside, and follow that intuition. I can share that very briefly, very quickly. I went for the walk before our podcast, and I was trying to press the one video from the Dr. Joe Dispenza. I love that video. I was just trying to press so hard and so hard and so hard, but my phone doesn't listen to me at all. My phone would like to give me music from the Mother Talking. I don't know if you know that. I said, go and play this. I said, no. And just only tried pressing so hard, Dr. Dispenza. I said, why not? Why are you just telling me what I have to do? And then finally, I just gave up. I said, okay, that's meant to be for me. And that song lifted me up. That song gave me lots of power. I said, I have to listen. I have to listen. That was a beautiful reminder. So if you are listening to me, and you've got maybe that experience in your life, you're trying, pushing so hard something, just lose it, just relax, play like a child at the playground. Have you ever experienced that kind of the things in your life, Catherine?
Yes, in fact, very similar this morning. I had that is so synchronistic. So I was on my dog walk just before we came on to film. And it's one of my favorite things because it's beautiful, the woods around here. So going out with my dogs and seeing them just having such fun is just, it gives me so much pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
But I was trying to listen to something and exactly the same thing happened to me. And then something else came on and I was giggling because I was like, oh, okay, you know. So it's so funny when you hear that. And these little things, they might sound little, but they're so important, because when you start saying yes to receiving those synchronicities, then they just get more and more and more. And suddenly, you know, I've been a scientist all my life. There's nothing more freeing than thinking, I don't need to have the answers, just show me the answers. It's just absolutely wonderful. And do I get into old habits sometimes? Yes, absolutely. Because, you know, sometimes these well-established habits can be quite tricky to break. But at least when you start recognizing when they're no longer serving you, you can then start to make different choices. And initially you might have to sort of almost be a stage approach. Oh, I can recognize I'm getting stressed here. What can I change? Do that. And then the more you practice it, the more it just goes into an automatic flow. So practicing these things, it's never, ever, ever too late for ourselves, for our animals. You know, it doesn't matter if you've got a 15-year-old dog, you can still start looking into their nutrition and seeing how you could give them better nutrition and watch how they respond to that. And none of this is about blaming ourselves for past choices, because we do the best we can with the information we've got. But it's such fun keeping that open mind to, are you open to learning? Are you open to new ways of doing things? And when you keep that outlook on life, I think everything starts going better for you.
Yeah, that's why we're opening the much more new space, new, clean, pure space for the new possibility, definitely. And that was like another thing, what you only said, happened for me on that walk. I lost my hairband completely. I had a ponytail, and then suddenly that disappeared. I said, oh God, that's message for me. But anyway, if you're going to lose something, that's great, fantastic. Don't go and look for it, because that's meant to be like that. Just forget it and just go forward straight away. But that beautiful connection with the spirit, the life force energy, like I would like to say. So when we just only allow ourselves, just only go through that, all the emotion go, all that stuff inside, through us, then yeah, we're allowing to see the life much more from much more brighter side. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, that's my English is not my first language, so I'm just sometimes I need to slow down. I would like to push something, but I need to slow down, and you can get there.
Love it.
How about because we would like to just only touch a little bit about the mind, body, spirit. So if you would like to say something around to the people who are listening us, how they, in the simplest way, I know it's not really exist like that, but just only maybe a few steps, baby steps, how they can connect with the spiritual, I don't know,
Yeah.
how can I say, they've got a spiritual connection, I mean, with the animals, or maybe the spirit guides, or maybe angels, that kind of them.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And it again, this is such fun. So the first thing I would do is, like, say if we've got the triangle of mind, body, spirit, there'll always be one area that's stronger for you. So you might know a lot about, say, for example, you might be a health fanatic and you might know a lot about how to keep your physical health in balance. So I love the way Louise Hay says it, that says sort of, if you're spring cleaning your house, you know you've got to get around every room of the house, but different people will start in different rooms of the house depending on what their priorities are. It's a bit like bringing your mind, body, spirit into balance. We know we've got to address each of them, but where you start will be different for each of us. So say you're quite well physically and you're thinking, okay, I don't need to put too much of my effort into my physical health at the moment, but I don't really know what this spiritual stuff is all about. But there's something in my life I feel could be better. Then what I would do is go initially with your intuition, because as you said, there's so many different ways. So you've got meditation, you've got animal cards, you've got tarot cards, you've got crystals. There's so many different ways. You've got looking into spirit guides. I've got a beautiful book, I haven't got it out here now, by Don Jose Ruiz on animal spirit guides. So just pick one bit. Oh, it's a beautiful book. Pick one book, one thing that you think, don't know a lot about it, but there's something that's piquing my interest there, and delve into it a bit and start practicing what they recommend. So for example, say you're drawn to animals and you think, oh, I quite like to know what my spirit guides are. Well, go and search out someone who talks about this. And that's the good thing about the internet now. You can always find someone. So I love the Don Jose Ruiz book, who his father and he co-wrote the 4 Agreements and the 5 Agreements, which are brilliant books again. So you might perhaps get his book and start looking into it, and then you'll find there's little tips and tools in there. So do them. So the difference is about when you're looking to balance your mind, body, spirit, you've got to actually do something differently. So you can't just read and intellectualize it. If you're looking at meditation, you've got to start meditating. You can't just read about it. If you can't just read about going to the gym and get better, you've actually got to go to the gym yourself. So what I would say is understanding, once you've realized that, you know what, there's a reason why everyone keeps saying mind, body, spirit, whichever have you not spent the time on, and then just pick one bit. And just like you said, Gabriela, suddenly, once you've put that intention out there, you'll find you'll start getting suggestions for which videos to watch or which books to watch, or things will start popping up, or a friend will say, have you read this book? And just start. There's nothing better than being a beginner in something, because being a beginner, you've got no expectations in yourself for having to know something, but you just can absorb and then keep what resonates with you and just let what doesn't go. But start today. Say, which of those do I feel I don't know enough about, or I haven't been putting attention in? and then go out and search for something, put that intention out there, and something will come back at you, whether it's a book, a video, a podcast, a friend saying something to get you started.
Yeah, but we need to get out. We need to just only do the action, because a lot of people just only sitting on the couch or sofa saying, okay, I absorb a lot of knowledge and information, and nothing is coming. Nothing is coming, and waiting 1 year, another year, another year. And then at the end of the days, I mean, on the planet, they're saying, oh, I'm so depressed. I didn't take this chance or another one. Anyway.
Exactly. So, there's no point sort of giving up enjoying today for some miraculous future that might or might never materialize. So if you want to start somewhere, just go out in nature and just ask a question. So say you go out for a walk and you see a crow pass by you, then go home and say, what is the spiritual significance of a crow?
Yeah, that's meaning. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just literally that simple. It's having that curiosity and asking the question. But it's sort of a cliche, but getting out in nature for me is always the place to start, always, because when you start doing that, you'll get out of this ridiculous human bubble that a lot of us have put ourselves in, and you'll actually start getting back to what's important, you know, and we've got to get out, we've got to play, you've got to move, and you've got to connect with something differently. And just like Joe Dispenza says it better than anyone else, you can't keep doing the same things and get different results. You've got to make some changes. So even if it's just starting with a 5-minute change to your morning routine, and then see what changes in your book. Just, there's so much advice out there. Don't get overwhelmed with it. Just pick one thing, but make sure you get consistent at doing one thing differently. And then you can move on to the next thing. And then don't be in a rush to get through it.
Wow. But what I'm sensing, when I'm just only listening you very carefully and just only picking up the vibration, like I just only said, today podcast is around the children, around the kids' energy, around the curiosity, like your website saying, you're curious. You're curious about the more knowledge and more information. You're constant. That's why you're biologist. That's why you just only love the scientists, metaphysics. Oh gosh, your inner child is still living inside you, and you're showing that emotion around you as well, because you're vibrating, and through the words, you just only you're spreading that vibration. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Can you just tell me and your listeners, what's your workshop you're doing? Because even if when this goes out, it's too late for that one, there's others. So what is this workshop you're running?
Actually, it's not too late to sign up, because this is the inner child workshop. So we're going through at the beginning, we're going to meet each other, and we would like to know each other. So that will be a time when I'm going to unravel something from my life, from my experience, and they can share the information if they want. But also we will be running through the beautiful meditation. So I'll be taking them far, far away from that place, three-dimensional world, so the quantum field, and they will be playing with themselves. So they'll had a lot of vision. There will be a healing tree, and there will be lots of Q&A questions. But sometimes I'm not following my plan. I'm just only feeling my intuition, or maybe that's something, or maybe I'm going to do completely different way. I don't know what is yet, but my plan is like that. But what the future holds, I'll see what is coming.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So that's the perfect place for people to start, Gabriela. It's the perfect place, you know, connecting with others without being firmly attached to where it's going. So gosh, I recommend everyone signs up for your workshop, because you know, this is what we need. We need to start doing things differently, start enjoying our life. As adults, there's enough serious stuff around us anyway. We want to be the person that you want your best friend to be your own best friend, you know, and our animals will give us instant feedback. My animals can tell me straight away when I haven't got my stress under control.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm so thankful for that, because humans might not say anything. They might pretend. We're very good at, you know, but animals don't lie. So I'm so grateful for them, because it's a quick, like, oh my goodness, get myself back in balance. Otherwise, not only am I not nice for anyone else to be around, but I don't want to be around me either when I'm in that state. So, you know, this is why I think animals are so brilliant. Instant feedback, and there's no malice in it. You know, it's not like,
I know what you mean.
Say, can I give you some feedback, and then saying something really nasty. They're saying it from a really pure heart. You know what it's like with young children again. young children are so honest. Like, you know, the amount of young children that said, Mummy, what's she got in her ears, when they can see my hearing aids? And the mothers are like, shh, shh. I'm like, that's not rude at all. It's a really good question. It's not, there's nothing rude. The child's not saying it to be rude. They're curious. What is that? What is that
Yeah,
that he's got?
that's true.
And, you know, that we all know that they can say, you know, all the things, but they say it as it is, and animals say it as it is. And yes, diplomacy can be really helpful. You know, being kind is really important, but actually also, if we can learn to get back to having those honest conversations with each other. For me, Gabriela, a really good friend, I know that if they're telling me something, they're doing it from a place of love, not from a nasty agenda. That's how you tell a really good friend, whether it's an animal or a human. And if we all get back to being that really good friend to ourselves first and foremost, then for others, I really do believe that we can change the world very, very quickly.
Yeah, definitely. And when we're not projecting our own traumas and our own emotions, that's why sometimes the people didn't want to tell you. They actually, that's not the intention. They didn't want to tell you, but they really caught up in their own emotions. They
Yes.
didn't know what's going on, so they thinking, okay, she's fine, she's okay. But inside you, that could be like a tornado. That would be a, oh my goodness, a lot of my I would like to say that kind of the spaghetti. I'm always telling the
Yes.
people that kind of the things. Yeah, so that's why the people not ready, but when they're ready, the teacher arrives. So I love that quote anyway. But
Oh,
what
so fun.
I would like to just only ask you, let's go wrapping up a little bit. I know you're just only running out of the time. But is anything helped you during your spiritual awakening process, or maybe now is helping you come over the challenging time? Because as we are human, we are just only experiencing the human life. We've got the
Yeah.
up and down. So I'm not saying we just only got the glory, hallelujah, and all the time, but sometimes we've got a low vibration emotion as well. That's a part of the spiritual journey.
Do you know, I think the thing that has really helped me so much, because I am very much like hurry, 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 doing loads of things at once and everything. So the biggest thing that has helped me over the years is the heart math, heart brain coherence breathing.
Oh,
There's
wow.
loads of different ways to do heart brain coherence hearing. So if you haven't heard about it, people, look it up. But when you change your breathing state, you change your whole energy field,
Yeah.
which then balances out your physical stress, your emotional stress, makes everyone. So learning how, there's so many wonderful techniques. I love Wim Hof. I love the heart brain coherence. You know, there's so many different techniques because everyone will have different individual challenges and things that resonate. But when you learn to control your breathing and do what we call bring your heart and brain back into coherence, sorry,
Yes.
that is the number one tool I would suggest to absolutely everyone, to find a method that works for you and do that. Because at any time of physical stress, emotional stress, wanting to know what next on your spiritual journey, if you can bring yourself back into that state, you're ready to go.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I love the Wim Hof method. That's an amazing one. I found him 10 years ago and I was like a shocked when I've done first time. I was like, oh, where I am. I just almost lost my consciousness. I said, oh my goodness,
He's
that's so
just amazing. And when you meet people, I met him only briefly at a local community event that Russell Brand had. He is the nicest, most genuine person you'll ever meet. He's just so genuine. You know, when you meet some people in real life, they're not what you think. He is brilliant. And that's what I would say to people. Look, there's something out there for every budget, every passion, everything. So just start, pick one thing and start it today. And if you've got animals in your life, when you can control their your breathing, you can control their anxieties so well. So as you say so well, Gabriela, it all starts with us. Learn a new tool today, get pretty good at implementing that, and then you can go on to next one, and then share that with your friends, share that with what works for you, because this is how we all learn. It's like, oh wow, I hadn't known about that. This is, we've all got little bits of gifts that we can share, so let's get sharing.
Yeah, the sharing is caring, but also like just that something came to my head, like we overlapping our aura. So if I've done my work on myself, I'm vibrating the high energy. I don't have to talk too much to you. I just only come close to you, just as a kind of the accident. I know the accident doesn't exist, but I will be just only standing close to you, and I will be giving you that energy. I will be giving and spreading that love.
Beautiful.
So just go and be there, and that's it. That's completely enough. Yeah, that's amazing. Where can people find you?
Oh, thank you. Well, I've got a YouTube channel under my name, Catherine Edwards. I've got a podcast called the Live, Love, Learn with Catherine Edwards. And I've also got 2 websites. So catherineedwards.life and catherineedwardsacademy.com. So a bit of a mouthful to remember. But the main thing I would say is go to my YouTube or Instagram. Instagram, it's Catherine Edwards Life, I think. And just you'll then find a link tree with all my links. And please do let me know when this is up as well, and I can make sure I share that, because I've really enjoyed this conversation today. I hope we can do it again sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to. Thank you for accepting my invitation. Like too many.
Oh, love it. I love it. I love the work you're doing. I think it's so, so important. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Thank you.